What's up? I don't know where you're at in your journey, your growth journey. Um, I don't know if you've ever noticed that you struggle with like being authentic with people, and I have struggled with that for a very, very long time, 45 years. It has been a absolute struggle. And one of the things about being authentic is that it's scary because there's a vulnerability to it that can make it super hellaciously difficult. And one of the reasons why that's difficult is because you know that some people aren't going to really like you, right? And especially the fact that they're not going to like the real you, which is kind of scary, right? Um, but what I've found as I've moved into a more authentic state, just being free to be who I really am and not care so much about what people think, is that there are costs associated with being inauthentic that far outweigh whatever scary part of being authentic you think there is. It's way worse to stay inauthentic. And I'm going to show you 24 things that I've realized about myself as I've been on this journey. And I might find that there's more over the course of the rest of my life. These are just the ones that I figured out in the last year or two. Okay. And these are for me, these are mine. You might have your own different list. Your list might be 10 times longer than mine. So mine's only 24. I don't know. You might have a longer one. It might be shorter, but it's something to really think about in your life. Maybe some of these things resonate. If they resonate, leave a comment. I'd love to hear that. If you've got any that you realize, like, oh my gosh, you know what? Actually, this should be on the list or something like that. I want to hear them. I really, this journey I'm on is has been invigorating and exciting for me. I just love to like share it and hear from other people and hear their journey. So, okay, so here's my list. Number one, I noticed that I carried like a constant stress of like constantly trying to pretend I was someone that I wasn't. It was a lot of work to do that. And there's something about like letting go of that kind of thing. Number two, I battled anxiety because like I always had to filter myself, and in filtering myself, I noticed that I was constantly having to like I'd be like maybe in a social setting and people want to play like maybe a board game. This happened, I don't know, a year and a half ago. I don't know. We're playing a board game and it's kind of a silly board game, kind of like a charades type thing. Silly, you got to do silly stuff, and I just had so much anxiety. I kind of like had a meltdown, you know. And it's because I was filtering myself. I was afraid of what people would think of me, how I would look or whatever. And so, you know, that's one example. I mean, it comes into effect in all kinds of different areas, but a lot of anxiety was connected to that reality. I also had a lot of hard time sleeping at night because of the anxiety that I had. I would go to bed and I just knew I wasn't living up to who I really was and what I was really capable of because I was so busy wearing that really heavy mask, trying to be somebody I wasn't, trying to not be judged by people, trying to not look less than perfect, trying to not look like a loser. That I, because I was doing that, there was a part of me deep down that knew I was being a loser. Actually, like that's the only kind of loser. The person who doesn't even try, that's the loser. And and so I knew that it was eating me alive. So I had anxiety. I couldn't sleep at night. It was driving me crazy. Um, and so then number three is kind of connected to the same thing. I couldn't really relax or have fun a lot of times. In social settings, like around my family, it was one thing, but in social settings, you know, so I've always had a hard time dancing, singing, you know, um, any social setting that would get kind of loud and funny and goofy. A lot of times I would really struggle in those settings because you have to, in order to do that stuff, you got to let your guard down, and that was really hard for me. I didn't want to, you know, I don't know, crack a joke or whatever and have it be a stupid joke and everyone's laughing at me instead of at the joke and, you know, things like that. So it was difficult for me. Um, a lot of times, like when I would meet people for the first time, I would be consumed, or if I went out in public, I, shoot, well, let me finish the thought. I would a lot of times get very consumed with what other people were thinking. And it can make for some very awkward situations. I remember this one time I I saw a couple that went to our church, and we were gonna be going actually on a like a couples date in a few days, and I ran into them at a restaurant. I had to run in and pick up an order and whatever they were there eating, and I went over and I just started. I don't know. I started to kind of like get awkward and weird, thinking too much about what they're thinking, and when I went over, I shook his hand, and then when I went over to like shake her hand, I actually went in for a high five because I don't know. I like overthought. I got weird and awkward, and then I went like to high five, and she went in for the handshake. So then we switched, and I went for the handshake, she went for the high five, and then I got so like in my head that I like kind of looked away, and then our hands kind of landed together in the most awkward thing, and we just kind of sat there, and I kind of like looked at it like what, and then I'm thinking like what's the husband thinking, like oh my gosh, what have I done? They hate me. I just it just was awful, and I would create situations like that a lot of times because I was just too much in my head, too busy thinking what everyone was thinking instead of just loving these people, just being real and being authentic. I created weird situations like that. And in case you're wondering, they canceled the double date. Yeah, a couple days later. So, and it never happened. So things like that. I remember when my wife and I were very young, like 19, and we were dating. I remember going to the movie theater and just feeling like everyone. We were waiting in line outside the AMC, and I remember just feeling like everyone was laughing at me. I don't know, it just felt like everyone was looking at me, laughing at me. And I remember just kind of like having this meltdown moment right there, this anxiety riddled meltdown. And it's just too much thinking what other people think, or with what I thought they were thinking. And then I had this recent thing as a little bit of a show of like victory. I went to a recent thing where it was a memorial kind of thing for someone at our church, and I knew that some of the people at the church, there was some issues there because there was kind of a falling away with the church, and I wouldn't say it's bad blood. Like I love these people, but I knew that I was in for maybe some like awkward encounters or whatever, but I didn't care. I just went in to like love these people, give them hugs, shake their hands, talk to them, make it about how I can serve them, make it about how I can love them, not trying to figure out what they're thinking about me, which makes you freak out and be weird, but how can I love them? It was amazing, man. It was amazing. And I had so much freedom there. I just got to just be and just forget it all, right? Incredible. I had a hard time sleeping. I already said that. So that's actually five. I'm kind of blending these together a little bit, but and so that's kind of five. I don't know. My list is getting jacked up, but whatever. As I'm talking, I'm kind of like blending these things together. Number six. What the heck? I already did that one too, so I blended too many of them together. Number seven. Number seven. This is unique. I lost touch with my own instincts, and I couldn't tell what I actually wanted, what I wanted, because you're so busy trying to kind of people please and give people what they want, or figure out what they would want you to want. Um, you get so much in that frame of mind that you almost completely lose sight of what you actually want, and it becomes really hard to think for yourself in that way. I saw that so many times, whether it would be like something like going on a date with my wife, or if it was like a business idea, or I don't even know, like countless things. I would just be like, what should I do? Or maybe it was a big decision in my life, but I couldn't really decide what I wanted because I was too busy thinking what other people would think of that and judge me for that. A really tough one. I felt very hollow and disconnected and unsure of who I was. Um, and because I never really took the time to figure out who I was. I just read in a book recently, the author Brianna Weist was saying how, I'll put the link in the description. It's a really, really good book, honestly. It's an incredible book. She was talking about how, like, hey, if you've never taken the time to figure out who you are, start small. Like, go eat a meal you've never had before. Did you like it? And do it in a way where you're not asking yourself, would they like it? Just, do you like it? Go by yourself. Go eat a certain kind of food that you've never had, and watch a movie you've never seen before. by yourself and just, did you like it? She said start small like that and just kind of build your way up, but try and do it in your own peace and tranquility and quiet. Try and carve that out for yourself to figure out those types of things. And you might find that as you go down that path, you start to figure out, man, I got opinions, I got thoughts that are actually me, like really me. This is how I really, really, really feel. I've found in my own healing, for a long time, this is gonna be kind of weird for you to hear maybe. For a long time, I didn't really listen to music, uh, because I felt like if I listened to music, I was identifying a certain kind of way with a certain kind of music, a certain kind of genre, a certain band, a certain whatever, right? A certain sound, and and so um, I would look at, in school you had the Heshers. I don't know, all you youngsters probably don't even know what a Hesher is, but like, you had the punk kids, you had the Heshers, and the emo kids and whatever, and so these people were getting labeled, and I was afraid of that. So I just kind of like went into Mr. Cellophane and played it like I don't even listen to music. I don't like music. I don't, and I kind of played that angle. And because I was uncomfortable with revealing what my actual music choice was, and then being labeled that way, and then maybe getting ridiculed or whatever for that being how I liked it. And in case you're wondering, I like Creed, okay? Creed, yes, Creed, and lots of other stuff. But I just thought I'd throw it out there because I know they get a lot of hate, and I don't get it, man. Anyway, so but now I've been building out a music list and trying to figure out, like, listening to different kinds of music and trying to figure it out. And it's been really freeing. And I know probably most people don't resonate with that one because it's kind of bizarre, but you might have your own variation of that. So that's just something I've noticed in my own life. That's just kind of really weird. Another one that's similar to it is I like to play Beat Saber on VR. And I've gotten really freaking good. I'm like Expert Plus, which is the highest level, and I could beat most of the songs on Expert Plus, and that was weird for me because it required me to move a certain kind of way. Other people could see me doing it, and it was really kind of embarrassing to me, and it was hard to let my guard down. But it's like I'm starting to kind of like get there, right? So it's been pretty cool. It's amazing, and I love the game, and it's so much fun when you start to like get in that rhythm. And I was missing out so much for so long, and it's tragic. It's just honestly tragic. So where the heck was I? Hold on, it's connected. I became addicted to approval. I became addicted to approval because I didn't know how to approve of myself. My gosh, that is a huge cost, actually. Um, Constantly chasing other people's approval is a real tragedy, and whenever I see that in people now, I literally mourn that. I mourn it. And you'll see people like fake success and stuff like that get overly grandiose about how successful they are and trying to look a certain kind of way and all that. And it's just like really fake, but they're doing it because they care too much about that approval, and it's really, really sad. Um, Another thing is like we can be fake and like hide really bad things about ourselves and not be open and transparent about that stuff because we don't want to lose people's approval, right? And so we hide these darker sides to ourselves so that we can maintain the approval that we need, that we've created. So this addiction to the approval can create a lot of pitfalls in our life. It's tragic, tragic. Um, I numbed myself. Number 10, I numbed myself with distractions just to avoid the truth. So I would play video games, watch movies, you know, a little bit of like kind of a death scrolling on, social media apps or whatever. But definitely video games for a long time. They were an out. They were a way for me to escape the reality that I was creating, that I was super anxious about, super unhappy about. And man, I'll tell you, I'm glad to have victory over that one. It's so rare that I ever play video games. When I do, it's really just to hang out with my son or a friend of mine. But it's rare that we do it. And when I do it, it's in a social setting, and I think that makes a big difference there. But eventually, what happened to me, so this is not my last one, this is number 11, but um, what ended up happening was I actually became really disgusted with myself as a result of realizing the mask was doing these things to me. I probably should have put this last on my list, but and that disgust was pretty gnarly, pretty bad. Um, and so I would kind of recommend to people, like, the sooner you can figure out how to get rid of the freaking mask, how to become more authentic and more real to who you are, the less damage, the less collateral damage of all that time going by, where you then look at it and go, my gosh, I wasted so much freaking time. It's disgusting, you know. It's a hard pill to swallow. But I'm telling you, my friend, it doesn't have to be that way. I'm telling you, when you start to make these steps and you move in the direction of like conquering these fears and going at these things that create the anxiety, the things that hold you back, the things you don't believe you're good at, or whatever it is, when you go at them and you start chipping away, there's a freedom in there that I wish I could give you that feeling right now. I wish I could just somehow just send that to you. It's an amazing thing. It's amazing, and I want that for you. So I'm encouraging you to, like, fix it now. Fix it now. Number 12. One of the things that I noticed was that I attracted people who were drawn to my false persona, right? That's obviously what was going on. If I'm being fake, but I'm actually making friends and contacts with people, there's a sense in which they're actually just becoming friends with someone who's not even real anyway. That's not fair to them. That's a lie. I'm lying. I'm lying to them. Um, and how can I really feel good about that relationship knowing that's going on, right? Um, and then also, um, I would repel people from me that were really just being repelled because they could intuit, they could pick up on the fact that I was living a mirage, like there was a fake thing going on there, right? And that would turn them off. So that's also a tragedy in and of itself. Another one is that number 13 um, is I pushed away the ones who might have loved me as I was, right? When you stop and think about it, it's like I I there's a lot of lost opportunity in there where I could have been making real friendships and real relationships with people who it could have had a lot of depth to it, but I didn't allow those relationships to even start off because I was so guarded and I was so fake and inauthentic. Um, Number 14, I got resentful when people didn't see me, even though I was the one hiding. And that's a weird one because on one hand, like, here I was hiding to protect myself, but there was like this weird part of me that still really craved the relationships. And and I was mad and sometimes resentful of people that they weren't giving me that. But it wasn't really fair because I was kind of putting it all on them to have to do all that work of, like, reading between the lines and figuring out what was real, what wasn't real, and what I really wanted, and it's just totally unfair to put people through that and then resent them for not knowing how to navigate those waters. It's crazy. I know I did that. Um, Number 15, I couldn't open up and receive help because that made me feel weak, even though I was always willing to help others. And so I think part of my over willingness, I mean, I would throw caution to the wind to go help people. I loved helping people. I still love helping people. It's a beautiful thing. It's one of my favorite things on planet Earth, to be honest. It's very fulfilling to help people. I feel like I have a giftedness in that where I just really enjoy working with and helping people. I love it. But there was a component in there when it was from an inauthentic place that I was trying to earn people's love in doing that. And I also wouldn't receive their help in return. I wouldn't receive that back. So, like, I would give it, but I wouldn't receive it because I guess it just kind of made me feel like if I was receiving it, then the mask that I was trying to wear that made me look tough impenetrable, they would see that now. They would know I was wearing a mask. And so now I can't allow them the opportunity to do that, which means when you think about it, you can't really have a real like intimate friendship, like an intimate relationship, because there's always that wall there blocking it. So that was really unfortunate. Um, Another one is that just number 16 is that I couldn't build real intimacy because just plain and simple vulnerability in that way would definitely terrify me. And it's weird because I thought I was vulnerable because I would I would open up about certain things in ways that other people wouldn't. So I felt like I was like, oh, I actually had really convinced myself I would have labeled myself as vulnerable, but I wasn't. Um, I was only vulnerable to the degree that my mask and all that allowed me to be. And so it the vulnerability I gave suited the mask. That's the vulnerability I gave, and then it suited that I could tell myself I was vulnerable when I wasn't. I've lost count. My count's all jacked up, but I ended up being surrounded by people, but I would still feel like really alone. And so like I would go maybe to like church, like a life group setting, things like that, be a part of like a basketball team, whatever it was. And here I got all these people around, but they all seemed like they were buddy buddy chum chum, hang out, laughing and inside jokes and all that. And I'm over there being Michael Scott, and I'm saying to myself, I love inside jokes. I wish I could be a part of one sometime, right? That was me. And because I wasn't allowing it, and I couldn't, for some reason, I couldn't quite figure out that it was even my fault, really. Um, but that's the price of being inauthentic. Um, Number 19 or whatever. I wasted years chasing goals that were never truly mine. In the people pleasing, just trying to make everyone else happy and not upset people and lose the relationships that I had built up with my mask. I would do the things that they thought were the right thing a lot of time, and I got lost in that. And it feels so good to now know what I want to do with my life. My gosh, it feels so good. Um, yeah. And number 20, I settled for a life that didn't fit who I was. And I've talked about it before, but I've been a 20 years, I've been a stay-at-home homeschooling dad. And I love it. I've loved that time. And that time has been so valuable. I would actually credit being a stay-at-home dad with being the thing that ultimately brought me out of that inauthentic living. Okay, there's a long story there, but I would credit it. I would say it changed my life just like it changed my kids' lives, and it's brought so much healing into my dysfunctional family tree and my wife's dysfunctional family tree. It's been amazing. But in all honesty, I probably wouldn't have been doing that role if I was my authentic self. And and that sounds maybe counterintuitive, but point being that as much of a blessing as being a stay-at-home homeschooling dad was, much of that blessing was that it helped me repair, right? Thank God for that. But what if I repaired before I even got there, and then the tables could have been turned, and my wife was the homeschooling parent, and I was out doing, conquering the world and being me and, doing that, right? Could have flipped it. Because that's actually deep down what I wanted. And my wife deep down wanted to be the stay-at-home mom. But I didn't step it up. I didn't make that happen. I was too in my head about it all, man. Number 21, I played small just to keep everyone else comfortable. Kind of touched that already. I lost my number 22. I lost my creativity because being creative requires honesty. A lot of times being creative, and you'll hear creators talk about it, being creative, there's a vulnerability to it that can scare creatives. A lot of times they'll do some creative stuff, whatever, and they don't want to share it, right? And for me, it was just like I didn't even be creative at all because like Like even trying to be creative was scary enough. So it scared me away from being creative. So yeah. Number 23, I sabotaged my own success because success would have exposed the lie. What I mean by that is that, um, if I were to go out there and start doing these things and that I needed to do in order to do it, then people would it would require that I have to put my mask down to do that. And I didn't want to put my mask down, so I sabotaged myself. And I kept with the mask. I kept with the victim mentality. I kept with that lifestyle and all the anxiety and all the anguish that came with it, all the regret, because that all felt more comfortable at the time than putting the freaking mask down. And I'm telling you right now, there comes a time, like I said earlier on, I think number 11 or whatever, where you get so disgusted by it, and it's tragic. And you look back, it's like, man, that's tragic. Lost time. It's tragic. The last one, I robbed myself of the joy that only comes from living with integrity. And I'm telling you, wherever you're at, whatever you're feeling, I'm telling you, there is something about it that is so freeing and so beautiful. And whatever that anxiety and all that stuff you're feeling right now, and how hopeless and overwhelming it feels, I'm telling you, I felt it. Been there. Been there. And I am so glad I'm not there anymore. You know? And it was baby steps. You don't have to conquer it all right here, right now. You don't have to conquer it by tomorrow. It's going to be these baby steps. Start moving in the direction. Figure out, what it is that lights a fire under you, and just go for it. Or figure out some kind of fear that you have, anxiety you have, and conquer it. Hit it head on. Baby steps. Baby steps. Start capturing those thoughts that those lies that you tell yourself, those thoughts. Take them. Cuss at them. I really believe in cussing at those things. F you, right? Like, let it have it. That voice, it's a little liar. Don't listen to it. And then throw it in the waste bin. And then bring in the truth. Drop it right in there. And feed yourself the truth, the truth, the truth. Don't listen to those lies. They're evil, nasty little things. You got this. I know you do. I want to hear the comments. Let me know what you're thinking. Where's your struggles? What did I leave off my list that you would have put on your list? I'm going to put some book recommendations that helped me so much on this journey. But my heart goes out to you. If you're hearing this struggle and you feel that and you know what I'm talking about, my heart completely goes out to you. And you're not born for that. You're not made for that. You're not. That's of our. Ultimately, it's our own self-doing that does it, and we can blame everything else. Our parents. I grew up with a bad living situation. We can blame the school system. School was terrible to me. We could blame all kinds of things, right? I didn't have a male role model. All kinds of stuff. Ultimately, I'm an adult, and I gotta own it. I gotta own my actions. I gotta own my thoughts. Nobody else gets to control me. When I allow my past, the school system, my this, that, the lack of a male role model, and all that to be the thing that's my excuse for why I'm the way I am, I'm a victim, and they are controlling me. Whether or not they want to, they're controlling me. I'm a victim, and it's something outside of myself that is holding me back, and there's nothing I can do about it because that's all something out of my control. But it's not. It's in your control, and you can take those steps, and make the decision to go in the right direction and conquer that stuff, just like I did. So, you got this. Subscribe. Take care.